Hi everyone, this is your explanation for your last essay. So you're going to do something a little bit different in this essay. This is a literary analysis essay. You guys have read In a Grove, which is a short story. So basically you're going to be doing what you've probably done in high school, which is analyzing a piece of literature for meaning and representation of different ideas or characterizations or thematic issues. So what I want you to do basically is you are going to choose either one approach. So you guys have studied the different approaches to literature. You're going to choose one approach, either a character, a theme, or a sort of generic approach. And in that, you're going to create an argument surrounding that approach. So if you choose character, for example, you're going to be looking at the characteristics of a particular character and creating some type of argument about that. So for example, if I'm going to use, say, Harry Potter, if I was going to analyze Harry Potter, I wouldn't just say Harry Potter is a story about a boy who does magic. I would say Harry Potter is a story about the character growth of Professor Snape. And I would say my argument is that he grows from a villain into the hero. He's an anti-hero. That is a specific argument about the character. I wouldn't just sit there and talk about how each character has, this characteristic or this idea. I want to be creating an argument. So what I would suggest that you do if you're going to choose character is choose a specific character and think about what your argument is. Here, because we have so many unreliable narrators, your argument could be anything from I believe this character is telling the truth, or I believe this character is lying and here's why, or I believe this character is the hero, this character is the villain, this character is dynamic or round or flat, or even this character develops into representing this idea or this theme of love or this theme of bravery or chivalry or cowardice. There's a lot of things you can say about these characters. So I want you to think of a specific argument about a specific character. And then as you're analyzing, think about how you know what this character is. What in the story is telling you this? Is it the other characters' descriptions of them? Is it the text that's telling you, sort of describing the character, the atmosphere around the character, the dialogue itself? Is there any conflict with other characters? How are they trustworthy? How do you know? What proves that they're trustworthy? Why might they be lying? What do they have to stand to gain or lose? What's their background? So here you could bring in gender norms. You could bring in defying gender norms. You could bring in cultural issues. There's a lot of things you can bring in if you're talking about particular characters. Theme is different. Theme is going to be looking at the point or argument of the story. So what should we as a reader get from the story? What evidence shows us that? So if you're going to tell me that a particular theme is, say, cowardice, and how cowardice is in everyone, you need to show me where in the story you're seeing that. How are you seeing that? What's making you see that? Is it the imagery? Is it the symbolism? Is it metaphors? Is it dialogue? You could do themes of love. You could do themes of bravery, of self-sacrifice. There's so many things you could talk about. An approach, again, is a school of thought generally when it comes to literature. So you want to think about how you're reading the story. There's a number of different schools of thought you could be using. You could be using historical, you could use gender, you could use cultural. There's a lot of different ways you could approach the issue. Remember also that this is a typical essay. So while you're creating an argument, you need to have an introduction with a thesis statement where you state your claim or your argument or your stance on whatever one of the three that you're choosing is. And then you need to have good, solid reasons to support that argument with evidence from the stories. That's direct quotes pulled from the story to support or show what you're talking about, and then a conclusion as well. Your essays needs to be 3 to 4 pages in length and is due on Sunday, November 18th by midnight. MLA formatting required, of course. Everything checked for plagiarism, and then make sure you do the minimum page length as well. All you're going to turn in for this is a final draft with your bibliography. So the example topics that you could use, there's a number of different ones, but you could, for example, you're going to look at character. Look at issues around behavior. Look at why a character is telling the truth, or why they're the reliable narrator or the unreliable narrator, or why are they dynamic or why are they flat. Are they the hero? Are they the anti-hero? There's a lot of different things you can talk about with character analysis. Themes. You could look at truth versus perception, honor, virtue, love, tradition, rebellion. And approaches, you could do a feminist reading of the main character. You could do a cultural reading. You could do a psychological reading, which is always very interesting, or even a new critical reading. And just think about what is most interesting to you when you're deciding which of these three to do. And again, of course, you're not limited to these examples, just they're there to help spark an idea. I've kind of talked through the general requirements of the essay as well. Again, solid reasons and evidence to support and opposing views. So this is where you say, I understand that my view may not be the only one. However, here's why I think it's correct. So ultimately, you're just going to write a final essay with a bibliography, turn that in, and that will be your final assignment before Thanksgiving break and before finals week. So if you have questions, let me know. Otherwise, this should be pretty straightforward, and I think you guys will do a great job with it.